everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are lucky enough to be here for the December 2018 PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting, where today we are talking about the daily report, not that daily report, not the TV show, but the daily report from PracticeMaster. Mary Jo is going to take that topic, and I am going to talk about convert to fee and the settings that make them happen. And so without any further ado, I'm going to press a couple buttons here and get out of the PowerPoint software and into PracticeMaster, where Mary Jo will talk to us about the daily report.
Okay, so I really like the new way that PracticeMaster in version 19 lays out my dashboard for me on this screen. It does give me all of my calendar events coming up and all of my tasks and everything that's coming up here. I really enjoy that, looking at things just right here. But sometimes you just want to go and just print out, you know, what am I doing today? You want everything just on a printed piece of paper or on your screen in a little different view. And that daily report will do that for you. And this is also available in any prior version as well. So it's not just 19. So if you don't have 19 yet and you don't have this nice dashboard view, or if you do have 19 and still want to use this daily report, you can. So we're going to click on the daily report, and this is our options here. We have a date range we can set for a daily report. You can do this for a day, a week, a month. Just because it says daily report, don't let that deceive you. It is whatever range you put in here. This could be my week, whatever you want here. So I'm going to put in 11/1/14 because this is test data, to 11/30/14, because I honestly don't know what things we actually have. Whoops, and I didn't put that in there, right? Did I? 11/30/14, there we go. I don't know what test data is out here, so I'm going to do the whole month just to make sure I capture some time entries or some calendar entries here. What users do you want to see this calendar for? You can do this for everybody, or you can pick and choose just your calendar. I'm going to uncheck all users, or a certain group of people's calendar. So you have that ability to do pick and choose or just do yourself. I'm going to do Ron because we do a lot of things with Ron out here as our test guy. So let's see what happens with that. You can decide whether you want to include events, tasks, only include the overdue tasks, or you can include tasks with no due date. You have an option here of whether or not you want to show those on this report, and also whether or not you want to include reminders. You can categorize your activities by type and then date, or by date and then type. And what that means by type is event or task. So you can say, I want to see all of my events. So if I do it by type and then date order, or all of my tasks in date order, or I can just do it by date and see all of my events and tasks for that date. You also can start your each date on a new page. If you're doing it by date and then type, then that will become available for you to go ahead and sort that out for each date on a new page. I do like to include these three options down here, my calendar comments, the client name, and the work description for the client, so I know exactly which matter these things are for on my calendar. And then if I have typed anything in my comments box, I like those to appear on my report as well. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to preview this report so you can see it. And you'll see a nice list of everything that I have to do. Here's all of my events. And so I did this by type and then by date range. So I've got my events first listed in order. So 6th, 7th, 10th, 11th, 14th, all these things are coming up in here, 17th, all the way down. So I've got the whole month because I did a month view. So it gave me all of my appointments for the whole month. And then over here is where I see the client. And this is the client name, and then this is the client's work description. And again, if there was anything in the comments, I would also see that information as well. Here's an example down here on a task. You can see all of this information down here was probably in a comment, so it's posting it underneath here. So here's all of my tasks that I have to do and when their due dates are, and then what matters they are for. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit further because here's my reminders. So any reminder that's out there. Now, if I was just looking at my regular calendar view and I was past the 10th, I wouldn't see these reminders on the calendar anymore because I'd be past it. They'd be back on the 10th. So if I was looking at this week, I wouldn't see that reminder, but on my daily report, if I had that date range included, I will see it print out on that report. So that's all of that report there. Now you'll also notice that as I was hovering over these different options, I get this little highlight. And what that means is anything that I can highlight, I can drill down and click on and open that record. So if I want to open up this particular calendar record, you can see that whole row is highlighted because this is the calendar record itself. All I have to do is hover and click on that, and it will take me directly to that calendar record. At that point in time, when I'm on here, I can make any modifications that I need to, changing the due date, changing the time, resave it, and then I can refresh my daily report, and that will move it accordingly. If I wanted to get into the actual client, I'm hovering over the client, now this is going to go take me back into the client window so I could see the client information. Maybe I need a phone number for whoever I'm calling. So when I have it on the screen, not printed out, you've got that drill down capability to go right into the specific information about each record and even down to the client level to get that information to call whoever you need to call. So this daily report is really helpful. I like the way that it lays it out and that I have the choices of whose calendar I want to print and also which date ranges I want to include. I can be very specific with that report. Paul?
Thank you, Mary Jo. I am going to talk about how to get fees into tabs by converting events or tasks or emails or other things into fee entries. Now, anything virtually that you can hover over, you can convert. So if I go into, for instance, my monthly calendar, and I right-click on this, I will get convert to fee. If I were to go into my task list or into a client file and look at a document or look at another record, a note, a journal note, or a phone note, or virtually anything. Let's go into documents, and let's find somebody that has a document real quick. I say that like I'm actually going to do it quickly. Let's see, there's one. I can right-click on a document and convert to fee. Action. Right there. When you don't immediately see it, it's going to be under the action menu. And virtually anything that you can right-click on, you can also, under quick clicks, under take action, you can convert to fee. Additionally, if I go out to Outlook, and let's say we just go to my deleted items, I can take any of these deleted items and use my PracticeMaster fee button and turn it into a fee as well. Now, that's all well and good, but that's not really what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is the defaults. So let's say that I want to start converting calendar items. Let's go back to my calendar, and I want to be able to just convert calendar items to fees. If I right-click on this one right now and say convert to fee, this will bring up what my defaults were. Now, there's different defaults that you can set for different types of things. For instance, when I'm converting an event, we don't get to default the hours worked because the hours worked, it assumes the length of that event. If it's a 1 hour duration, it's going to assume that we probably should be converting into a 1 hour fee entry. Now, these are just defaults. This is a description, and you'll see in a minute where that description came from, but that's a default as well. Another thing that we can default is who the timekeeper is. Sometimes you want the timekeeper to be always you. Sometimes you want it to be who the event was for, things like that. So let's go in here. Yep, it wants me to get something corrected. Let's go into maintenance on your menu, preferences, and then convert to fee settings. Now that's the old-fashioned way, so that's for everybody that maybe doesn't have version 19, because I can also go here to the search box and simply type convert, and one of the things that's going to pop up is convert to fee settings. So if you don't have version 19, well, if you do, you can type it there, but if you don't, you can go to maintenance, preferences, convert to fee settings. Now, the trick is to understand that, well, one of the tricks is to understand that you have different tabs up here for what it is that you're converting, and you have to specify your defaults for each individual thing. So let's say, for instance, that the only thing I was ever going to convert to fees would be emails. Then the only thing I need to worry about is setting the email convert to fee settings, okay? If I'm never going to convert emails, but I'm going to do phone notes and regular notes, then these two tabs are the ones I want to have set up. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I think there's great value in setting these up for everything, whether you think you're going to use them or not, because they're very easy to set up. And once you get them set up, if you happen to use them, they're there. Now, this is, again, this is really just what it was defaulting to when that screen first comes up. So let's go to calendar, because that's what I was in. T-code, when no T-code is assigned to calendar code, because you can assign T-codes to calendar codes. We'll look at that in a second. So what do you want it to be? You can pull down your list. Outside conference with, let's say it's that. What phase, task, and activity code do you want to use if it's not a T-code type client? So these two things are what you would want it to default to if it were a task-based billing client. And this is what you would want it to default to if you were converting a calendar entry for a non-task-based billing client. Timekeeper used for last fee, client's primary timekeeper, or always use this timekeeper. And you're going to find these kind of across the board. Most often you see people simply saying always use timekeeper, and then they're simply selecting themselves. Okay, so this one don't find being used very often, because then you're kind of just, it's kind of a crapshoot, really. You're just, whatever you happen to use last time is what this thing that you're converting is going to default to, and that's not really good practice. Sometimes client's primary timekeeper is appropriate. Maybe you're a paralegal and you're billing time under the primary attorney, or some other such thing. But most often we simply see people saying always use timekeeper, and they're putting themselves in. Now, I taught a class at one of our clients once to the paralegals about how to do this, and the one paralegal who was on his phone the entire class came to me about a week later, and he had created about 175 time entries for timekeeper number 1, which is what it had defaulted to. He had forgot to change this one thing, so the senior partner in the firm got all of his time. So careful there. What do you want the description to be? If you choose description field, then whatever the description field in the calendar entry is what's going to come up here, okay? You could use the description that's tied to the T code or the phase activity codes, or you could say always use this one. And when you say, and it doesn't matter whether you're in calendar or email or not, when you're saying always use description, you have some variables that you can put in there. So in this one, we're taking the description of the calendar entry, a comma, space, the start time through the end time, and then the comments. Kind of cool. But more often than not, we simply see people putting things like appointment, I can type really, with blank regarding blank, okay? So I can simply type something. I didn't mean to put that period in there. I can merely type something. I can actually build something, like I want the description or the location or the date completed. Obviously, this doesn't make sense putting it in like that, but I can mix these fields in and have it build it from the record that I'm actually converting. Kind of cool. And there are certain instances where I've seen people use this and they love it, absolutely love it. If yours are mainly telephone calls, then this may be what you want your description to look like. Down here, we get into the when you're converting one calendar record to one fee, what do you want the minimum time to bill, and what do you want the rounding to be at? More often than not, I see things like perhaps 0.2 or 0.25 here for the minimum, and then I see the duration for rounding being 1/10 of an hour, okay? Sometimes for emails, I'll see just 0.1 and 0.1. it really is entirely up to you, but what's your minimum and what's your duration? So with these settings, if I had converted something that had lasted 6 minutes, it would default to 12 minutes, 0.2 hours. If I had something that lasted 13 minutes, it would default to 18 minutes. If I had something that lasted 1 minute, it would default to 18 minutes, okay? Now let's just take a quick look around these others. Email does have the ability to combine multiple emails into one fee entry. Just so you understand, I could go into my Outlook and highlight several different items from my sent items and then hit the fee button here, and I would be combining 3 into 1. And that's what they're talking about here. So when you're just converting one email, what's your default minimum? And when you're converting multiples, what's your default minimum? And do you want to apply that to each email? In other words, if I'm converting 4 emails, do I want my default minimum to be 0.4, which is the way it would be now, or 0.1, which is the way it would be without that box checked, okay? When combining different types of journal records, use the settings on the timer tab. It's sometimes as possible, you could be looking at the journal screen in PracticeMaster, and you could highlight an email and then control click on a phone record and control click on just a regular journal note. And that's 3 different types of journal notes. So it's saying when combining different types, like I just described, which tab do you want to pull your defaults from, okay? And this one, I don't see people doing this very often. We call them defaults for a reason. This means when possible, just go ahead and convert them without showing me that interim screen, okay? Don't show me what you think I want to bill. Just go ahead and assume that is what I want to bill. I don't think I've ever seen it. Mary Jo, have you ever seen anybody check that? Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody check that, because everybody always wants to, when they hit that button to convert to fee, they want to see what they're going to be billing, okay? So these are the defaults. Notes, pretty much the same thing. What codes, what timekeeper, what to use for a description. We've got the multiple records thing going on. Same with phone. Here we're able to convert multiple phone records to one fee. And so we have a minimum and a rounding, like we do on the converting one record. Research, in case you don't know it, there's a button in Internet Explorer that you can install that will create a research journal record where you can actually save the page as a journal record to your journal in PracticeMaster. And so this is what's to be used when that's converted. Timer records, that's these things down here. I'm going to go to document real quick, and then I'll go back and show you where timers are. Document's much the same, okay? So if I go into the timer, I'm not going to save my changes. Let me go into the timer here. There we go. This is my timer. If you've never seen this, this is just another way to time things. And so you can create these timer records, and when you go to convert these to fee entries, the defaults that you specified on that screen were the defaults that would take precedence. Now, I'm not going to go into how you use the timer. If you want to learn how to use the timer, go to our website. I'm going to show you how to get there and look for content in just a minute. And search for timer, and we have several different videos specifically on how to use the timer and how to set it up and how to have it pop up when you need it and go away when you don't want it there. So I'm not going to go into detail about that, because what we're really talking about here is how to convert, not how to actually create the journal records themselves. So bottom line, go to convert to fee, settings, choose the appropriate tab, and fill things in. Most important things to fill in are the timekeeper and the description. The rest are kind of icing on the cake. Make sure you get your rounding the way you want it. And occasionally people are concerned with, well, especially in the task-based billing firms, they're concerned with what their phase and activity codes default to. Again, when you're sending emails, There's a certain set of codes that you use most often. That doesn't mean you can't change them. And that's that. That is convert to fee settings. Next month, we're going to talk about, Mary Jo's going to talk about the holiday settings, how to set additional holidays that may not already be in your PracticeMaster calendar as holidays. We figured we'd wait till after the holidays to tell you how to do that so you could do it for next year. And I'm going to talk about how to print a label from PracticeMaster. Okay. And of course, we want to take you to our website and show you how to get to this content, especially if you want to go find that video on how to use the timer. So if you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, notice, of course, the emphasis on the last S in the word systems. You will notice a videos menu item that if you hover over it will list our 6 titles, but also if you click on the word videos, will take you to a page that lists all 6 titles. We have 4 live events. You're in one right now, the PracticeMaster VUG, Virtual User Group Meeting. We also have a Tabs 3 VUG and a World Docs VUG. And our 4th live event is my Coffee Pot webinar series, where each month I will invite somebody in from a company that has a product that adds value to either Tabs or PracticeMaster or World Docs. And they will explain the value that their product adds and demonstrate it and talk about pricing and how it integrates and all those great things. We also have 2 pre-recorded video titles that are not live events. Mary Jo has her eBytes video series where she takes something that's really cool and can be explained really quickly. And 2-3 minutes is how long these videos tend to be. And lays it all out. She records 3 of these each month, 1 for Tabs, 1 for PracticeMaster, 1 for World Docs. Then for those things that are a little bit longer in format, take a little longer to explain, take a little bit deeper dive into, we have the Paul and Mary Jo show. Either I or Mary Jo record 1 of these each month, and these will last more like 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes for topics that take more time. Take more time than we could get in an eByte. Let's go look at what you can see when you click on more info. We'll go into PracticeMaster Virtual User Group Meetings. Since this is a live event, every video title has its title and its description of what it is. And since this is a live event, you will see registration information. Sometime very soon, this will change to next month's webinar, Virtual User Group Meeting content. And we've changed things up here. We don't have links to register anymore. We have the fields right here in the page. So you just fill this out, hit the register button, and you're ready to go. As you scroll down further, you will see the other content that we have. Now this is Patty's getting ready to fill out next month. So she's got this webinar that you're attending right now in post-production. And then as we scroll down, we get to actual recorded videos. So everything we've ever done live, or of course the recorded ones, the produced ones, is here. And that's somewhere between 800 and 900 videos. So there's a lot of content here. You can scroll through and just kind of browse. You can go to the PracticeMaster VUG and just start browsing. You can also simply come up here and start typing. Let's go out on a limb here and see if the timer video that I said was out here comes up. There you go. There you go. There's a couple of videos on the timer and how to use it. And so you can search. So if you're looking for something specific, use the search. If you're just browsing, just browse. These videos are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 356 days a year. 365, I'm a little confused about my days, aren't I? 365 days a year, even Christmas. So here, we'll be here. You guys come at the end of Christmas and when you're looking for something exciting to do after your boring day of Christmas and browse through our videos. So that is it. Everybody have a good rest of the month, a good holiday, and we will see you next year. Thanks much. Bye-bye.